I got this text. There you go. Awesome. Welcome, guys. Welcome back to Digital PNA. We're going to dive in here. Thank you for being here. And thank you, Michael, for the great encouragement. We were just chatting about Facebook and video and trust and how do we get more people to know, like, and trust us. And I just learned this really interesting fact that they're saying that people need to spend, and this is in the information space, if you're selling information, they need to spend upwards of 700 minutes with you before they will buy into your program.
Huh.
So
Wow.
several hours of a potential workshop or a Zoom or a meetup, whether that's face to face or in person, it's like that trust in 700 minutes could come over, 700 reels. There's 60 seconds, or like a 2-day workshop that you get for free, and then you sell, $8,000 thing at the end. So that's just new information from one of my masterminds. But I was like, whoa, like that's a lot of time to spend with somebody. But if they delight you and inform you and they don't piss you off, like there's a good chance you might, walk into their community or their membership or whatever they're offering. Brian, will you make me able to share, please? So I'm excited. It's actually a little bit of a smaller group today because I'm going to present some new information in terms of how we're going to run digital PNA. And it's not going to be like a hot, cold switch. I'm going to gradually bring on some opportunities and some new roles that people can choose to participate in. So with that being said, let's dive in. You guys can see my slides okay?
Yep.
Do you see the slides on the left?
Yes.
I'm gonna just keep
Yes.
it open like that. So, hey, this is me, Marcel, on a good hair day. Brian put that picture in there earlier this year. But I want our theme of the year to be, wouldn't it be cool if? Wouldn't it be cool if I got 3 referrals on Instagram? Wouldn't it be cool if I was able to go meet up with Emma and go to one of her meetups and learn about her side hustle? Wouldn't it be cool if Brian got a $10,000 keynote, right? Wouldn't it be cool if these things happen this year? And as our team continues to grow and evolve, I did add to the top here our Instagram handles. Because one of the things I'm going to start doing is counting or encouraging people tagging one another on Instagram. And Emma, if you have one, I think you sent it to me last time. I just didn't get it in the
Oh,
slides.
I don't have it on. I'll get one that's
Um,
for work.
and, and, and Mara and Heath don't have one yet also, and so I'm going to nudge on them and encourage them. But I'm going to encourage a lot of participation on Instagram and maybe even YouTube when it comes to networking. And I'm even encouraged as we do one-to-ones, consider doing live Instagram interviews. So often, like Brian and I will get together and we'll brainstorm this cool thing. And I'm like, shoot, why are we not broadcasting this conversation? Some conversations are meant to not be online, but like if Michael, if you and I were to get on Instagram and talk about advertising and how it's changed in the last 20 years, that would be fascinating. Like we could do that privately at a coffee shop, or we could do it on our Instagram lives and help a lot more people. And so there'll be a theme of live this year, and that whole idea of wouldn't it be cool if? And I was dreaming a little bit in January thinking, wouldn't it be cool if our volunteer roles evolved? To me, anytime it's the same old thing, I tend to get bored. So these are under construction. I'm open to feedback as we move into these. The photographer role is also going to involve to be the video clip snapper, right? I'm not asking to be a full-on videographer here, but people can clip videos of somebody presenting of themselves. It could be a debrief 20 seconds after the show, or the Brian and I were debating, I'm like, it's not a show yet, but calling it just a meeting really isn't quite that sexy in terms of recruiting people to come in and join us. So maybe a dynamic presentation, if we can move toward that for this dynamic presentation as opposed to a meeting, I think we could invite people more enthusiastically. Anyway, so volunteers needed. Does anybody want to try today to do a video clip and or a photo of the meeting? And the video clip could literally be 7 seconds of like Marcel talking or Brian talking, or it could be after the show, even saying, hey, I'm on this great community. You guys should come check it out. Um, and then the other newer one, so in the past, we had Tracker, and we still have Tracker, and that role is going to evolve and grow. So I think it was Emma actually at the end of December, our meeting then, you sent me like 20 great memes or quotables, and I was like, shoot, that's now 2 hours of work for me potentially if I was in my role of social media manager and turning that into quotables for the internet. I want to train and teach everybody here to take a piece of text, a quotable, maybe Brian Trendler says something amazing today, turn it into a little piece of content using free software that we already have on Facebook or Instagram or even, Google Docs, where we then say, blah, 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 Brian Trendler at DigitalPNA at LaughTech. So we're quoting people from this space, right? Because I want to elevate your voice, your wisdom, your encouragement. And that's just something I think it's important that we start quoting alive people. I was actually quoted a couple years ago saying, stop quoting old dead guys. Not that there's anything wrong with what Abe Lincoln once said, but there are leaders today that are doing really cool work that I think we should give them a quote, especially if they really said it. I'm not just saying make up stuff, but if they're saying great things, why not quote that? And then the doodler is going to evolve to doodler/storyboarder. And the storyboarder will get more clear when we talk about high active days. So if somebody this year wants to do, I don't know, a panel that we promote live on YouTube, and we have 4 people in this panel, we might need to storyboard out how we promote that the week coming up to it to get more people here to get it to really promote it. And so this role is going to change. And anytime you guys are like, wait, I don't know how, or that doesn't make sense, please let me know. Because if I'm talking too high or if I'm not training the tactical stuff, it's just going to frustrate us all. And so I'm very much open to skill building as we go because we're always learning new things in the digital era. And then the fourth one, the timer, is going to involve to be timer and tagger. So they might say Emma makes the meme. Like she could post it on her social and then tag everybody, or the tagger could also make sure, oh wait, where did that meme go? Did somebody tag it? So we're kind of getting more dynamic where we're not just sitting here and listening, we're actually creating and consuming, creating content for people outside of these Zoom walls, essentially. Any questions on those four? I went through them kind of
I,
fast.
I love that this effectively creates assets that can be published or used
Hmm.
and propagated.
Yep.
What would it be like if there was a digital PNA landing page, maybe a subset of PNA,
Hmm.
that where assets like this and others could exist? That
Oh,
is not just a receptacle, but actually then becomes a way to market and promote and present digital PNA.
yeah.
It has a different um, it has different legs than other PNA dynamics. So something separate that can optimize. I hate using that word. That can leverage
Hmm.
these visual assets in one place.
Yep.
What would that be like?
We could definitely make that happen.
Well, Marcel, I'm sorry, you are speaking out of turn regarding that. Yes, we could make it happen, but that does involve time,
Right.
resources, determination to do it. Digital PNA does exist online, but it's very, very salesy right now. If it's, PNAnw.com/digital PNA, and that has the description of what it is, how we structure the meetings, and that is now very gladly going to change to a new structure. And you are right. Some of those assets, a direct link to the YouTube saved, videos, can start to grow. And as
Great.
Marcel incorporates some of these changes,
Hmm.
myself and my web team could start to encapsulate some of those differentials from the regular site. So
Great.
I
Yep.
didn't mean for that to sound rude, but that's I
Yeah.
I, I want to make sure that we understand that that's a process.
It takes time. And then, did you guys see? I changed my screen over to Instagram. Do you guys see this?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So a lot of our digital assets are here. Now up here we do have a digital PNA highlight bubble where any meme, any story, any video clip that's tagged during PNA and it's tagged to at PNA Northwest can be archived in here where this becomes an
Great.
immediate uploadable place to go and you could say, oh my gosh, check out what PNA is doing. Link them to this. This is essentially a
Okay.
sales page in a sense. And our YouTube channel, we're going to make that a little bit better, but it's I love the energy. Wouldn't it be great if we can market it easier? Because I agree, it's important that we can market these things. So let's just go for today. If we were to keep them at the basic ones, who wants to be the tracker? Listen for the quotables. Emma, thank you. How about the timer?
I'm happy to time myself. That's actually easier in case I
Okay.
miss someone's bobblehead up on the screen. So I'll.
How about photographer?
Well, I'm pretty comfortable doing, screen clips, screen,
Captures.
but
Yep.
I'll study about video clip snagging.
Okay. Excellent. So you'll do our videographer or photographer, and I'll do the doodler. So Mike, like for example, if you take a photo of the day, and then also at the end of the call, you take your phone out
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes
and
sense.
you
Yeah.
do a 30-second. I was just on Digital PNA. Brian Trendler from Laugh Tech gave a great presentation. He was talking about X, Y, or Z. Hey guys, if you're looking for a dynamic place to come to presentation and network, we'd love to have you. And then you would tag, and this is where I have tagger over here, but I mean, we should all be comfortable tagging one another on at the end of this meeting for the sake of what is the shareable part? Because if I just send minutes out to everybody and that doesn't, they just sit in our inbox, does it really help the greater community? And that's where like I want some of this stuff to go beyond our cute little community and get out to help other people.
Absolutely.
Okay, so with that being said, we've got our commercials. These are normal. I did change a little piece here of like do your commercial, and then if you have a digital win recently where you're like, hey, I was on this podcast, or I got, I made a reel that got, twice as many views, or hey, I didn't fire so and so. I don't know. Like if you have a digital win, I'm gonna stop screen sharing. We can do those commercials. Emma, do you want to start? I'll do ladies
Yes,
first. Okay,
sure.
you're up.
So I've realized that there are two things in life that the more you put them off, the more costly they become. That tends to be your health and life insurance. So I'm here to let you know that we cannot control our health. I mean, we can, but some things are uncertain. But life insurance is one of those things that you can be aware of and can reach out to someone to help get yourself started with. And it is one of those things that there's many different varieties of our products that we offer so that there is one that should meet your needs. Remember us when you think of that at Country Financial.
Awesome. Thanks. And Michael?
I'm going to add one other thing that if you put it off, it becomes very expensive, and that is marketing. Because if you aren't out and people are not aware of you, they're not buying from you. And one way to get people aware, to build that type of equity in the marketplace, is via advertising. If you are to advertise, it makes sense to advertise to the right people. Otherwise, you're wasting your money. And what the Puget Sound Business Journal has done, it's aggregated an audience of business decision makers. So companies that sell to other companies shouldn't waste their money by advertising in the wrong place. They should, and sooner rather than later, use the right vehicles to get into the right to get in front of the right people so that they don't miss that sale that could happen tomorrow.
Excellent. Brian? You're on mute.
Unmute. Okay, so this is still just a regular ad. We haven't done the tangent yet. I'm going to share a digital win during my presentation today. So I'm going to hold off on that, but I will simply say that I co-run Laugh Tech with Miss Marcelle Allen, the way more talented and attractive side of the business. I can guarantee you that. But I kind of hold down the fort from the BT Present standpoint, and I'll explain a little bit more about what that is later on. But we are humor education coaches. We love working with individuals or groups to become better, more confident and competent speakers using humor. We're never going to teach you how to tell a joke. We'll tell you how to get the audience to react like they just heard the funniest thing, because we all have funny within us, some way, shape, or form. Maybe it's how you carry yourself. Maybe it's what you wear. Maybe it's the way your hair is, whatever the case is. It's things you can bring out from what inherently makes you who you are. And that is ideally a likable, a listenable, a confident and competent speaker. So we like bringing that out in folks, and there's a number of ways that we can do that. And Rosie's coming in the call too. Yay.
Excellent. Good job, everybody. So my name is Marcelle. I run a digital strategy company called Dreamosity, and I'm the author of a book called Financial Joy, Know the Data Behind Your Dreams. And what I do here is I literally help people organize and optimize their body of work, right? So building digital assets, creating video content, storyboarding, planning epic speeches that then get delivered in digital ways. So if you are looking to create some momentum this year and you think technology has been the annoying, slow, tricky thing. I would love, love, love to help you with that because your message, your ideas, your offers, they deserve to be dynamically presented online in a way that is really cool and then gets you to that point of revenue and profit. So if you have questions around that, let me know. And then my digital win recently, well, it kind of started sad. So I don't have my new training space yet. There's been a delay. I'm still working toward it, but I was really, really down that day. And then I get a text. Hey Marcel, do you want to be on my podcast? Squee! I got so excited. So this Friday I'm going to be on a newer podcast talking about your business's origin story, which I don't think I've ever told mine publicly, like in depth. And so I don't know what questions he's going to ask, but I'm really excited to talk about why Dreamosity started. Um, okay, and hey Rosie, welcome. We're just doing our commercials. So if you want to hop on to your commercial or share a digital win, we would love to hear from you.
Sure. So, Rosie with App Services. You can hear me okay, right? Kind of? Let me take off the headset.
Yeah, there's a little echo. I just turned up my volume on my computer.
Oh,
Put
okay.
the mic closer to your face.
I can't.
Oh,
That's
okay.
as close as it'll get.
It's okay.
I'll just talk louder. How about that?
What? No, I'm
Careful, Brian. Anyways, Rosie with Tap Services and Digital Win, goodness. You know, probably I would call it like I've been getting a little more comfortable videos. I did get a client locally, and Marcel knows that. It's with Barrett's Gym. And I have a feeling I got him because I follow him on Instagram and I did a few videos, and we were chatting. He's like, and you know what? I need an accountant to get me like situated and organized and on top of things. And so I just started working with him in January and moving everything online. He wanted to do that. And so I'm starting to see the benefit of social media. I'm just saying. So Marcel, I know she's excited.
I am so happy for you and congratulations. All of your digital wins are great and great commercials. So, Rosie, you missed quite a elaborate show and tell in terms of some newer things that are coming down the line. So I'm going to encourage you to go back and watch the first part of this, but we're evolving some of these to be a little bit more dynamic for video's sake. And speaking of video's sake, our curveball question of the day is, how comfortable are you going live? Like, I want to puke, number one. Like, I'm terrified. Maybe you're a 5, you're like, I think I can, but I don't. I do FaceTime though with people. I know how to I can FaceTime, right? That is live video in a sense. Or number 10, good. Didn't you see my last video? Like you've been creating live videos or you've been creating some videos. So you can give yourself a 2 or a 7, anywhere in between 1, 5, and 10. And let's just go in the same order. We'll start with Emma if you want to share your experience, just because we want to understand, where's everyone at?
Yeah, I haven't actually done any live videos per se. I was working with a shop with my side business and was going to be doing some live sales with them. I feel very comfortable with going live because to me, it doesn't feel as permanent as doing a regular video and posting that, which is going to stay up there forever. So I guess to me, I feel like a 10, but I mean, I don't do them often, but I mean, I feel more comfortable with something like that than a permanent post does.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, lives can be permanent or they can be deleted immediately after. Michael?
Yeah, so it's an interesting question because if the question is how comfortable are you going live in front of an audience, I would say I'm very, very comfortable because I enjoy the energy that I get from people, you know,
Mhm.
whom I'm professing stuff to. If it's going live without an audience, that's to me a little bit less comfortable.
Mhm.
Still getting used to it.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing, Brian.
All right, so I'm the ultimate hypocrite. I'll get on stage anytime. I'll make people laugh. I'll do all that crap. You get me on a live, and I'm like, so
Yeah.
I'm probably a 7 to 7.5 because I hate to say it, but we all have anxieties. We have issues. I do not like the way I look. I don't like the way I sound. I just feel like a man child, and imposter syndrome just burgeons through, and it's uncomfortable for me, but I will do it. I have done it, especially when I've been at auctions. So I'll do something, quick ahead of time. But actually those haven't been live. So yeah, I suck.
You don't suck. You're doing great. Well, and it's just important to know because if we all start the year at a 5 to 7, and by
Yeah.
the end of the year we can all get to 8 to 9 or a 10, then this community will have given its value. And that's kind
Yeah.
of my goal, is just to get that. So honestly, like I'm great with video. I like going video. Going live makes me queasy. I'm like, oh, I don't like it. So the fact that I'm the president this year and I want to get these videos eventually to live on Instagram or YouTube is stretching me even, right? So I'd probably actually give myself like a three or a four when it comes to going live. Because I have done maybe 6 live in my whole time, which is
No,
small compared to
no,
the.
you and I did lives all the time at one of our previous offices. We did them once a week for a long
So
time.
I have seasons of confidence. And I have seasons of, and honestly, it's coming out of my surgery still almost 2 years ago now, or a year and a half ago. Like I'm still in a rebuild phase. So I'll give myself a 5. I FaceTime all the time when I like to FaceTime. It's really interesting hearing other answers, like having an audience versus not, because some
Mm-hmm.
live people do have 85 people live with them. It's just they're not in the room with you.
Right.
Uh, yeah. So, but I hear you. Rosie, go ahead.
Probably out of 5 as well. Like I've done FaceTime. I have done a few lives in the past. Um, just from the personal page,
Hmm.
and then like when I'm at a concert or something like that, and it's not on me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm recording someone else live, so this. But it's funny because I'm on Zoom all the time, right?
Mm.
So essentially, I'm on camera talking to someone every single week, client or prospect, whatever. So it shouldn't be hard for me to to do live videos, but I need to get better at it for sure.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you for sharing. One of the things you missed earlier, Rosie, when we were talking about the new, oh, let me bounce back real quick. This theme was like, wouldn't it be cool if? And I was saying, wouldn't it be cool if some of our one-to-ones this year were live on Instagram as an interview, which is one way just to have a conversation, right? It doesn't need to be, King Five ready. It just has to be two people talking about something that the marketplace might enjoy, right? We don't need to so we're going to work toward that as a community. But with that, Brian Trendle here is from Laugh Tech, Learn About Funny, because one of the things we do know about live videos is they're bored. They really don't work well at all, or at least dynamic. So, Brian, we are so grateful you're here today. He's an auctioneer, MC, and trainer. Do you want to share your slides today?
Yeah, I've got a whole bunch of stuff to
Okay.
show.
I'm going to stop sharing and I'll let you take it away. Real quick, what's a seldom known personal fact?
Um, well, I think Mike heard it this morning. In fact, he heard a small version of this presentation this morning, but I have a sluice kit, a hiking sluice kit for mining, where you're literally just shoveling a couple things into a little doohickey that's probably 4 feet long. But I'm bribing my children this summer, hopefully spring and summer, to get out and do some hikes low level because I'm actually surprisingly fragile. And I just want to have fun with them. And if we can end up on some of these hikes at a river, I do know of a few that are rumored to have, specks of gold dust, but I've also bought a little container of fool's gold specks. So I might sweeten the pot a bit. And if that stuff actually gets caught, an 11 and 14-year-old, they're going to lose their proverbial Shiite. They're going to be, we're rich. So I might be evilly bribing them with, the hints of treasure just to get them out. Because again, they're 11 years and 14 years old. So God help me. But they're great kids, and I really hope to experience the outdoors with them. So
Awesome. And what's the topic of your presentation today?
Deep dive into BT Presents.
All right, take it away.
Hopefully we can do this. Again, I just want to warn you, there's going to be a lot of screen sharing. So I'm just going to jump right into this. Can you see this guy here? Just give me a thumbs up. Okay. This is on an auto run, so I'm just going to go through a couple of these quick slides, but this is a fun photo sheet I did with another, a previous PNA member who just said, show up with your tuxes and, smile and talk about uncomfortable. Oh my God. Almost every one of these pictures was me positioning myself. Like he's talking to me and the chiking, I'm like, damn it. And the chiking, damn it. And they all turned out pretty good and kind of fun. But this has actually been a fun marketing direction I've taken over the last year now, where BT Presents is about bringing the fun, raising the fun, back into your events. And it's been very successful so far. So I just want to key in on a couple quick things. Ideal for me to help grow this side of the business is I am an auctioneer and MC first when it comes to this sort of thing. I've been on stage for 20 some odd years, whether it's been a motivational trainer, a speaker in general. And realistically, about 10 years ago, I started taking it seriously. And that's a nice way of saying getting paid for these events. And then in all honesty, Marcel, a couple years back said, hey, Brian, quit effing around, get paid for this. I challenge you to ... And for those of you who know her, she's brilliant, she's intelligent, but she's bossy in the best possible way. She's a great rah-rah. She's a great cheerleader. And really, I'm just incredibly thankful for that because she helped me raise the bar. And I've been doing a lot of auctions over the past few years, including MC/auction related work. And it's been great. I can marry off your adult age children's if necessary. I can do corporate event trainings, or even we can do corporate event trainings. Very important to say that that falls under the laugh tech side of things, where we can come in and make those god-awful, boring 2-day conferences entertaining by doing individual breakout sessions to raise the bar, get people entertained, wake them back up after food comas, things along those lines. And then, as you all know, we have monthly comedy shows in the local area. And then our humor engagement workshops, that's another whole subject. I'm not going to focus on that today. I'm going to talk today about and show you guys some things. I'm actually excited to do this. I've never done this. Show you guys behind the curtain a lot of the things that I do. Not just me looking goofy, pointing, you can do this and buy a car, but people just think all the time, it's a constant myth that if you're hired to be an auctioneer, you just take their money, you show up and you do your thing. Well, the dirty little secret is there are auctioneers that do that. There are auctioneers that charge $5,000 for an event just to do that. That's not me. So wipe that from your mind, pretty please, as quickly as you can, because I want to show you today a lot of the things that I do. Okay, that's my emails. What I want to do is show you a series of things that happens. Now, if I get into a situation where I am working, and I'm so sorry, I have too many screens open. Dad burn it. When I get into a situation where I'm working with organizations, I have to do a lot of work for these people. And what I mean by that is I have to, this is quickly becoming a disaster with my screen share. I have too many screens up. This is one of my tracking tools. It's okay if you can't see it perfectly, but what I do is this is my 2025 schedule. These are majority of these events I'm either already been hired for or I will be doing. I'll zoom into it a bit more so Mike can see. I saw you squint. But these are events that I'm already either engaged with or waiting for some of the information back. And frankly, some of them I just haven't updated, like the Ferndale one I'm going to be doing. I just haven't changed it and said one. But it's my way of tracking stuff. The For the Love Foundation was just this past weekend. I'll talk about that later. But I track if they're going to have a silent auction, if there's going to be games, if there is a live auction, will they do raise the paddle? What do they start at for the raise the paddle? $5,000. Then it goes down to $2,500. Then it goes down to $1,000, etc. I track all of this stuff. I've hidden some fields that aren't important for you guys to see. But point is I know exactly how my calendar is laid out over the course of a year. And this right now is only about 40% filled, which means I've got room through the rest of the month during the notorious MC and or fundraising auction seasons to take on more clients. It also doesn't include the normal regular 5 days in the middle of the week, because most of you know probably that events like fundraisers happen on weekends. So I can do corporate trainings, I can do MC related events where again it's a 2-day event and maybe it's boring and they just need an MC to herd the cats throughout the entire event. Those to me are actually really fun because I get to be bossy, but I get to make people smile and enjoy the transitions between, the events that happen throughout that organization. So I've never shown this. I don't know why, but it's one of my tracking tools above and beyond my database that I can flip to at a moment's notice. It's all on Google Sheets. So I have access to it anywhere in the world. I don't have to be tied to a desktop, look at it on my phone, on my smart device, etc. But that's I think it's kind of a cool little look-see into that. Another thing I wanted to show you is, once again, from an auction perspective, this is what starts to happen. I start to get a lot of information. Now, Mike heard this morning, but I'll stop share for a second. It's really important to remember that I don't just show up to these events. If there's an auction or a fundraiser that has an MC and an auctioneer, often what happens is that MC doesn't perform on the level that he, she, or they needs to. I see it all the time. Chances are, if you've ever been to an event, you might have seen it as well. They don't get the people motivated. They don't rally them that well. And it starts to get a little icky from the standpoint of when they need to step down, they then introduce the auctioneer. Suddenly, the rapport has to be reset at that point. That means the energy in the room is literally just killed. And that can be a bad thing. It can cost the organization money. So all the things I do to work far ahead of time with the organization, whether or not I am both the MC and auctioneer, I want to make sure that that transition is smooth. I price myself, and I've been very obvious or very open and very blunt with my pricing. An absolute minimum for a job is $1,500 because I put in a ton of work. Normally, even at that level, I'm putting in 3 to 6 additional hours prior to the event to make sure it's taken care of, the flow goes right, things along those lines. If I'm doing both roles, add between a total of 6 to 10 hours of work before the event, including on-site walkthroughs, multiple Zoom calls, and then, like I'm starting to show you here, what happens when I start getting stuff. So I will get the live auction items. I will get an Excel spreadsheet that shows all of the silent auction items, and they're coming back to me on a regular basis saying, is this good? Are these good? Do I have too many? Do I need more? If we have 60 items on the silent auction, do we divide it into 3 tables? Do we divide it based off of price? Do we divide it based off of experiences and travel versus gift baskets, etc.? All these questions are I'm assaulted with, but guess what? I take it in and I process and I answer. And they don't get that type of service from a lot of my competitors out there. And I get frustrated at that because that means that, they may not be earning their keep, or the organization may lose money because those questions aren't answered. I feel it's very, very important. So what happens is then that sort of stuff gets disseminated down into another document. Oh, and just real quick, I also get pictures of how it's going to show on the big screen during the event. I'm assaulted with, 5, 6, or sometimes 20 some odd images that show all this. And then I tell them, are you going to take this great shot? You're going to put that on a slide? Is this just going to be in the program? Is it going to be on the slides? And they'll look at me and go, wait a minute, slides? Why do we need slides? And this could be a couple of days prior to the event, right? I've made the mistake a number of times. I assume they know. 60% of the people at events do not even look at the program that's in their bid packet. They don't, because it's paper, it's superfluous. They're getting drunk, they're eating food, they're talking to all their friends. They want to be entertained, they want to laugh, so money falls out of their pockets or purses or merces or whatever the situation is, right? They just want to have a good time. They don't want to read. You're not there to read, you're there to drink and have fun. So you have to have the slides going up alongside me or behind me or somewhere near me that shows the 4-night stay in Sedona, shows this gorgeous money shot of this little thing that I totally want to swim in, although I sink like a brick, so don't let me in. And all of this other stuff isn't necessary. This is the information that I grab, okay? And what I do is I grab it and then I put it into a document that becomes something like this. This is what I literally have on what's called the Remarkable tablet. It's a little tiny e-ink tablet. It looks like an Apple iPad, but it's wicked thin. I don't have to have paper. I can scroll with a little left or right swipe with my finger, not like a weird Tinder date thing, but I can change pages. And my first item up for bid, Olympia Dining Experience. Ladies and gentlemen, this lucky winner will get gift cards to these amazing Olympia restaurants. And I'm in front of people with the microphone. I'm talking about you'll have this gift card, that gift card, blah, 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 blah. You see right there, the value, $725 value. People, isn't that exciting? And guess what, folks? We're going to start tonight at $700 or $400, whatever the dollar amount is. And then I jump right into it. Now that card, all that information is near me on the slides, but half the time they don't know to make that stuff unless I ask them to. Have someone generate those. So people that are visually stimulated, kinesthetic-based learners, they've got to see stuff. They don't want to flounder around a big packet. They want to have it there. So I guide them through this. So I create item number 1. I create item number 2. And Marcel, look, VIP tour of King 5 Studios. I told them on the floor, I'm like, we toured, Tech toured the original location. And
It
we
was really
been
cool
on King 5 a number of times. People loved that night. That was just this past Saturday night. Instead of $500, this sold for $3,000. Good stuff, right? So I take them through all of this type of thing. I also let them know that, hey, after 5 items, we got to have a break. People want their diabetes. We got to have the dessert frenzy. We have to have the dessert dash at that point, right? So I educate them on where it should be, because this particular group, For the Love, I'll kind of go deeper into that in just a minute. They didn't know some of these things. So I really had to educate them how the agenda should flow. And that's back to this page. I run an entire event off of this page. Okay. Some people I work with, some auction committees, have never seen something like this in their life. They don't know the flow. They don't have any idea. They put the silent auction, they end it 15 minutes after the doors open. They don't know where the dessert dash should go. So you just saw an example. They put Raise the Paddle, which is kind of the last money grab, where the emotional speaker or slideshow or short video is supposed to get people to do the alligator tears and get emotionally onto that bandwagon of wanting to donate to the facility, where they screw up and they put Raise the Paddle right before dinner. No, you don't do that. So if they will allow me, I take my expertise and show them this sort of flow, how it should go, where the money gets raised, why specifically, why are the games during this time, and then the games stop after the dinner is over, right? Why does the silent auction quite often open through dinner? Anybody know how long it takes for folks to eat at an average event? No guesses?
Not as long as the wait.
20
30
minutes.
minutes.
20 minutes?
1 hour?
Okay. Guess what? 8.5 minutes to shove all the food in your pie hole. That's how long it takes. Even if you're drunk, even if you're talking, it takes an average attendee at a fundraiser 8.5 minutes to eat their food. Now, of course, it's after they've been seated for a plated meal, or after they've gone through the world's slowest GD buffet line on the planet. So what did I have to do with this recent event? I'm glad you asked, Emma, because it was crazy. I situated the buffet area so it was accessible in both lines. And instead of having the same thing repeat itself twice on one big row, they split the tables. So then they had 2 sections of tables accessible on both sides to go through the buffet line. They only had originally 15 minutes set aside to get people fed. Oh my gosh, that included going through the lines. After we worked through it, they had 45 minutes because I was releasing 26 tables, 3 tables at a time. You have to allocate time for stuff like that. The education side I bring to every one of these events, to me, is second nature. To my clients, it's not often second nature. They need to be shown. And it's okay if they don't take my advice. All I do is throw my 2 cents worth, but I like to think it's worth 3 or 5 cents because I've been doing this long enough. I've seen some of the messes that come along with not doing it the way I suggest. So this type of thing is generated. There might be little notes here, like just as one set of live auction items ends, Brian needs to list the dessert dash winners, to make sure that that information is picked up. All of this stuff culminates to a successful event. Now I'm going to go backwards for just a quick second because I want to show you what also happens. And I only found this out mid last year. I found out how very few of my competitors out there actually deliver a terms and conditions document. I was blown away. They just send an invoice. and the invoice just says, give me money and I'll show up. Holy carp, that's bad. So I took this information through LegalZoom. I did not use ChatGPT, and through that legal assistance, and then through my actual business lawyer, we generated a document that looks just like this. The background, the address for me, how to get in touch with me, when the date of the event is, the actual fundraiser organization itself, what we're going to be doing, where it's at, all of this information. Next page. I want to be clear. I never charge more than $2,500 for my services. So this big dollar sign, I delineate me, $2,500, my sound guy, $1,500, etc. It all adds up, right? The point is, don't be scared. Everything that goes along with it, the 50% deposit information, all of this information, cancellations, non-performance clause. I protect my client way more than I'm protected. And you'd be amazed at how far that goes. People are kind of blown away. They're like, oh my God, this is a lot of pages. I joke with them and say, really, it's a bunch of, legal mumbo jumbo that says I own, or you own my soul for the next 6 months or however long it is. And I work hard for these people. And I'm very honest about that too. I have people in my network. If I get hit by a bus, if I'm sick or whatever, I've got people in my network that can come fill my spot at a moment's notice as well. And those are arrangements I've set up over the last few years with people. All these other things, dress codes. I will wear pants, okay? Fine, force me to. All of this stuff is in place. And then guess what else is really, really important, folks? A signature, a legally bound and binding signature. And I need it from them too. Oh, look, a spacing issue. Anyway, I need it from them too. All they got to do is sign this. I just need this page mailed back to me. Sometimes they just email it back to me. Fine. But guess what? At that point, they're legally committed to me because the check's on the way. So I'm really kind of goofy about this. I'm very proud that this exists and that the customer is protected. And really, it does say all over the place. This is for your protection. So I want to make sure that they're okay with giving their money away to me in order for me to turn around and generate 10, 20, 30, 40 times that. So that's that fun stuff. I'm actually at about 12 minutes, roughly 2 minutes in. I realized I hadn't started timing myself. So I do want to share a couple of the quick things. This page I'll put in the chat window. I would love it if each and every one of you at some point shared this link out. And that's because a lot of the information about who and what I do is right here. It's got the headshot, got some pretty little places that I've done MC or auctioneer work with. Name dropping is kind of fun. It shows a big old gallery. Actually shows sample video of me in action, some testimonials and fun stuff like that. Actually, I think it's the other way around. Okay, testimonials, people saying nice things, and then me in action. And by the way, these are always horrible because the sound is horrible. There's 200 people yelling. It's really hard. So it's not the best video in the world, but it's still kind of fun. The services I offer, it's all here, information about it. And then the other thing here is the media kit. If you click on this, and I'll put this direct link in the chat window as well, this is a media kit that if you wanted to introduce me to anyone in your network that you know has a foundation, you know has an event, not foundation, a fundraiser, an event, whether it's MC or auctioneering work, I would love the introduction into a warm email. No commitment. I'd love to talk with them. As I mentioned in this morning's presentation with that Michael was part of, auction fatigue is a thing. MC fatigue is a thing. And that's not meant to say they get tired of me, hopefully. It means they've been using the same person for a long time. Maybe the money is starting to dwindle as far as number of income raised, money raised during a charity event. It's okay to switch out to someone new. Maybe someone a little younger, maybe someone a little older, whatever the scenario is. Maybe a guy versus a girl versus a guy, any of that stuff. It's okay to speak up and say, have you ever thought about changing it up, bringing in someone who's known for good crowd work, fast-paced fun? He's pretty dorky, but people have a good time. And guess what? I'll send you a link where folks say something nice about him. That's okay. That's a great referral. And Emma, I will travel. I'm incredibly compartmentalized. You fold me right up, put me in the carry-on. I will travel. I'll go to other states as well to help raise money. So that's the information there. I do want to share one more thing, and then I'd like to open up for comments. Hopefully you can hear the audio. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't. This young lady and her husband loved me at this recent event because she was the committee chair. There were a lot of problems that happened at this particular fundraiser. This is an example for the Love Foundation. They had used the same person for 3 to 4 years. They didn't want to, because at an event last year, she was in the audience. She saw me do a fundraiser for the Tumwater Dance School and raised a crap ton of money. Everyone was laughing. They rehired me on the spot right there. This gal came up to me last year in September and said, "We want you for our event in the end of January." And I said, "Hold my beer." I'm kidding. I don't drink. But anyway, hired on the spot as well by her. After the event, after there were tons of micro issues that we and her team were able to resiliently break down and didn't matter, took care of people. No one knew that there was stuff going wrong. This is a funny testimonial.
My name is Katie McDonald, and I am the Vice President for the Love Foundation. And the one thing from this year, this is their third year having our gala, that helped the most is Brian. So if you need someone to tell you all the things but not tell you all the things, he says that you're in charge. The best thing is he tells you what to do, but not really. That makes sense. He's amazing. He has so many insights to what you need to do. For instance, today at our gala, for the music, it's still going on. Were your bitter sheets? I don't know where I am. I'm going to go find them right now. The wheelbarrow idea, which we just raised $1,000, that was this idea. So if you need a Brian, I would call 1-800.
Okay, funniest phone number ever, 1-800-BRIAN. It's not a real thing, but I might have to try to go find that and see if I can get that. She was very drunk. she was a couple champagne glasses into the wind, but she was my main point of contact for the last 4, however many months. I can't do the math. She and her team were amazing. They had been kind of blatantly abused by the previous folks that they had used during a number of other events. And they were just so happy and they were just so coachable. And that's my jam. Going in there, it is nice to be appreciated. And I will simply end with, if you know any organizations that want to be appreciated and want to have someone like me give their absolute all, no event is too small, no event is too big. I would love those introductions. So that is the behind the scenes of BT Presents, the fundraising side of LaughTech.
Fantastic. Great job, Brian.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Any questions for Brian?
I mean, one, thanks. That was kind of what I referenced earlier this morning and previously. What happens behind the scenes? That's fascinating. 2, are you underselling yourself when you call yourself an MC or auctioneer? Because really, you're doing project management, aren't you?
To an extent, yes.
I mean,
I'm very suggestive.
Well,
I can't tell them what to do, but like she said, I pretty much tell them what to do.
Yeah, and I guess it's a careful dance if they have somebody there who's a project manager, whose role it is to think about these things, and even if they're not,
yeah,
you don't want to step on the client's toes. But MC auctioneering, great, that's talent.
Mm-hmm.
But this is more than just being on the stage, isn't it?
It's so much more. Yeah. And you are right. I do have to tread carefully. Very rarely is there an actual project coordinator or someone that kind of does everything I just mentioned from the standpoint and what you highlighted. It's shocking to me, but it's also because when you're working with nonprofits, when you're working with schools, it's all volunteer based quite often. So you only have so many people that are involved, and the primary responsibility of the committee folks is to go run around and get sponsors and go run around and get streamers and decorations and catering, that sort of thing, right? So everyone's stretched very thin. So even though I do have to be careful, I can't call myself an event planner when I do this. There's an actual liability there. I will jump in full force when I realize that things are disorganized. I see like I actually got someone to reprint the programs one time because again, it was just a mess. The order of things, I knew it would cost them money, upwards of 30-40% if they put the race the paddle right before the dinner. Like all of that, you have to end with a bang, not a whimper. So I'll always, like I said, I'll always throw my 2 cents out, and hopefully it's accepted. But I have to be okay with either way it falls.
Excellent.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know, can you?
No, I like to tease you. I like to give my evil laugh because it makes you uncomfortable. Anyways, so you remember the guy that I initially introduced you to, right? Thurston County Crisis Center?
Yes.
Okay, so do you also help kind of, I know you have a lot there as far as the planning. Do you also help find venues if they're like stuck or anything like that?
So my reach, as far as the best way to answer that question, my reach isn't very far regarding venues. I know a few Seattle venues, Everett, Linwood, Mill Creek, Marysville, but anything further beyond that belt, I'm pretty much useless. Most people can just do a Google search. Like if you literally nowadays, now that AI is even tied into the search engines, if you can say venue, 150 people, stage, etc., it's going to do that job for them. So that's what I would tend to recommend. And it's nothing to do with liability. Just I don't have an extended reach beyond probably the Seattle area.
Yeah. Another thing is I'm trying to, I don't know if I'm going to be part of the board at some point for the crisis center, but he's actually suggested it for me.
Yeah.
Because they need like a financial person.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I probably might have more pull to try to help with their fundraising. At least that's what I'm hoping. We'll see what happens. But this poor guy, he's like in his 30s, is doing everything. And he needs an organizational support system, basically.
Yeah.
So he's not able to do a lot of he talked about fundraising, but he hasn't obviously like hunkered down and done it. And mental health is such a crucial thing that I don't want that organization to go away.
Of course. Yeah.
So we'll probably be talking hopefully soon if they put me on the board. So we'll find out.
No, that's phenomenal. Those types of organizations are near and dear to my heart as well, including anything involved with kids with cancer, mothers in need, fathers in need. Quite frankly, that often is a forgotten demographic. It goes both ways, right? So yeah, anytime I can lend a hand from an initial consultation standpoint, a little guidance, great. But if that comes to fruition from the standpoint of an opportunity, there are ways to help them also. So yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
That kind of made me think as kind of like a consultation thing. If like maybe I guess the company couldn't afford someone to MC, but that flow sheet was very nice, and that maybe selling that to them as like something they could use as to at least have something they know will help them make money when they do their fundraiser.
It's a great idea. Yeah. It almost feels, how do I say this? I love the idea, but I almost feel weird selling it to organizations. At the same time, I don't want to give it away. I also don't want to give my competition it. Right.
Well, so ebooks or something. Maybe you sell those as like how to run a fundraiser properly.
There's eventually going to be a book in me about this sort of thing. Kind of my little journey. It's nothing awe-inspiring, but it might be a fun read, like a toilet.
Yeah, no, I thought that was something that I would see for people putting on events in general. Even weddings, I looked at that as like just some kind of a flow of like what keeps people going and moving the thing. That would be great help for people. So I like that.
I've had people come up to me after weddings because I can be the officiant and then I can be the MC that does the dinner.
Mm-hmm.
People forget if that's like a drunk mom or dad or best friend
Yes.
running that part, it's a disaster. And I'm not that expensive for that sort of an event, so I don't
Mm-hmm.
blow the wedding budget out of proportion. And I'm herding cats the whole time. And for some sick reason, I dig that.
It's needed, though. It is.
It really is. And the bride and groom should never be asked to make a decision on the day off. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Leave them the hell alone, right? Mike, you've got something in the window here. Do you want to talk about that?
Well, no, I think every time you give a presentation about this, I learn something. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you.
I think that your website is great. It's very personable and to an earlier point shows faces, which is terrific. But a salient point feels like it's buried a bit at the end, which is that you just never show up. And the language is there. The language is terrific. I've just, that if indeed this is a unique selling proposition, and it sounds like it is in your competitive set,
yeah,
I'd hit that hard. Man, what a value that you don't. I mean, it's a tangible value that you just don't show up.
Yeah.
That you just, not that you don't show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to carefully word this.
I always show up because 50% of the remaining balance is owed
Right,
on that
exactly.
day. So trust me, brother, I will be
Yeah.
there.
No, I got that.
No, that's a great point. Thank you.
That's phenomenal. So, moving on to the speech breakout session, and this is not yet under construction, but it will be soon. And I'm open to other ways we can make this better because I think, like specifically the beneficial syndications, like I would love for Michael and Brian to do Instagram Live talking about just that, repositioning the what you call it, the unique selling proposition. Like that could be a whole reel. That could be a 20-minute live. That could be a 6-minute interview clip. Like to me, when we look at beneficial syndications, I'm not as much worried about getting this one video to go reach 100 people necessarily, but the next step that could really help Brian and help Michael, because he's an advertising expert, he knows the power of positioning, whereas, that may not be something Rosie could teach him on, but obviously there's things that she knows, right? So this might get a little bit of an update, but for now, let's dive into target market. What people or businesses need Brian's services?
Nonprofits, definitely.
Nonprofits, absolutely.
Yeah. And for-profits as well, because these skills are not just about getting people to donate or buy something at an auction, but frankly, it gets people, what you're doing is motivating people to take action. And that's a real challenge in for-profit companies.
Yeah. And I'd say giddy parents who their young adult kids just got engaged. And actually, Brian, there's someone on Instagram that I was like, oh my gosh, there's a proposal. Like they're gonna need an officiant, so. And the other target market you guys can think of?
I would say large corporations, maybe for their events or training.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, key conversations. You're there at a barbecue or a snowball fight and you're talking to some other parents or people. What might trigger a referral of like, oh my gosh, you need to know Brian Trendler?
Typically, I think we know a lot of moms, right? Typically as women, like we like to socialize and we talk, a lot of moms have their kids in Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts. And a lot of times those organizations actually need fundraising because they're going on trips or they're going on events, camping or whatever. And so they're selling cookies. Right? And that's their main thing. And I think a lot of times they don't think outside of that box and maybe do instead some fundraising, right, for situations like that. So for me, I probably listen to parents that are saying, oh, how am I going to send my kid to, this camp or that camp? It's because there's not enough, funding or whatever else in that organization for them to get a reduced fee.
Yep. Absolutely.
Ooh, I'm going to piggyback off of Rosie and say definitely parents when it comes to school, maybe even just help the school raising money, things like that. emceeing events within the school for parents, things like that too.
Exactly.
I'm going to go to I think it is an auction event tomorrow night. And often when I do that, one of the things you talk about at your little round table after the auction is about how it went. How do you think it went? Or did you like that? And when I'm talking to people, they're often thinking, well, I'm doing auctions. How did that one go? And would I change anything? And should I hire that person who's on the stage or not? So people who are attending galas in the moment critiquing the gala would be a terrific audience to say, well, do you know about Brian Trendler?
Excellent. Excellent, guys. How about beneficial syndications and or collaborations that you think Brian should be thinking about, or maybe podcasts or shows or sponsorship,
I think he should do commercials for people for their events and things like that. If they don't want to be on the thing, he could be that face, for their business.
that should become one of the things you auction off at an event. So
let me do your ad for you.
As part of your contract, get them to allow you to add as an auctionable item that I'll do your commercial for you. It starts at $100. What it'll go up from there. Not only does that get you business, it also provides you with an advertising opportunity in front of these people to talk about what you do.
That's super fun.
Can I have to show you guys something just really quickly. I forgot because I was doing so many things and sharing so many screens. I apologize about that. But if you haven't seen this is going to be the new coin that I flip at events during heads or tails. It's total marketing, but I'm going to have them I'm so excited for these. It's like real metal and it's going to look just like that, kind of burnished. And these are 1.75 inches in diameter. So it's more like a silver dollar, and it's going to have some weight to it, man. So I'm going to be flipping these things for heads or tails during the auction. And then at some point I'll be able to turn around and surprise the group that I'll auction off one of these coins and turn around and just generate more money, right? Or maybe if I'm not allowed to do that, whomever wins the heads or tails will be handed this coin. So for me, it's a cost of goods sold. It's a good marketing thing. But look at my little logo. It's right there.
I love the hair.
I'm very excited about this.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Just to have this sort of made and in my possession very soon. So, hell, I'll auction off myself. I don't care.
Yeah, I love the idea, Mike, of just there's always more things that you can offer, I think, especially Brian's talents. Yeah. Okay, other categories. If we're looking at a room today, it's a little bit small. What would be a great power partner for Laugh Tech specifically? Who's missing in this room right now?
Aside from 4 members.
An event coordinator.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, definitely. Because they're going to know all the things and be able to have him go to all of it.
Yeah, a wedding planner.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who's responsible for a venue. This came up this morning. Somebody who is has rooms that they're selling for events.
Yeah, excellent. All right, great guys, good job. So keep Brian in mind when you're out networking this week, and obviously keep everybody in mind. So as we shift into referrals and testimonials. And Mike, I want you to repeat what you said when you started the call about me, because I want that on. I want that documented. Am I allowed to ask for a repeat? Because that was made me so happy. Yeah. But anybody want to
happily?
Anybody want to start us off?
Well, since I've been teed up, I had mentioned earlier that I have been impressed by the amount of Marcel that I am seeing on social media. there has been an increase, it feels like, in in Marcel putting information out that is not only interesting but provocative, that makes me think, that asks me questions, that engages me. And so much so that it dawned on me that, gee, I need to be doing the same thing. So it has been, it has not gone unnoticed, Marcel, that you have been building a lot of visibility and frequency of messages on social media.
Excellent.
And
Thank
that works. Visibility and message frequency, as well as targeting, are the three pillars of advertising. Well done.
Under the definition of impressed with the amount of Marcel is exactly what you just said.
you.
I love that. That's awesome.
Well, I will say, for Brian, as always, I don't know how to really. I wish you could see how much you've changed me. I'll just say that from 10 years ago to this day. Like if I could do a reel, that's what I would. What I was before, a little tiny mouse that was quiet and shy and everything else. To now, I don't give a shit what people say.
A bulldog.
Yep. And so, it's really, I don't know, it's like an interesting, like a really neat transformation, I think, that, I've gone through in the last 10 years. And you started Black Tech when I started my business. So it's really awesome to see that it's still going and it's getting stronger. And now there's MC opportunities and all this other stuff. So I just want to say thank you both to Marcel and to Brian, because I feel like you two made me into who I am as far as a business person. So
thank you so much.
Of course, because it's true.
Well, and Rosie, I want to say thank you for showing up at the Revenue Ringlet this last month, because she got on there. She's like, I'm nervous to make a reel. Let's make a reel. And we made a reel right there. And then she got a client from that reel. And your effort, your willingness to apply what you're learning has been fantastic. And we all have a point where we learn, and then we just do. We dive in, and you keep diving in, Rosie. So keep doing that.
Thank you. Oh, and that short little, I didn't show up to the sphere of influence, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But what I did is I walked around the marina. So thank you again. And I did a video, but I might get one client from just that day of going to visit at the marina.
Yeah, excellent.
So.
Well, I would love to do one-to-ones with everybody again, and I would like to say I'd like them all to be on Instagram Live in the next 2 months. I don't want to have a private, quiet, secret squirrel meeting with you. I want to talk about you and your dreams and digital PNA and whatever else you want to talk about live. Live. So that's my referral for all of you to get exposure, because I've got I don't know, almost 2,000 followers on my Instagram account, and even if only 3 people show up for the live, we can remarket that and blog about it and talk about it, and you can you can say SC non-dreamosities, you got to build your portfolio somehow. Any other referrals and testimonials? I know it's early in the year, but you guys are out networking a lot, so.
I'm going to throw out a testimonial for PNA, because I've noticed something. I was talking to Courtney about this today, is that the consistency of showing up to this helps make you feel more comfortable, one, with yourself and the presenting, two, with the getting to know people and networking in that way, but then also building that connection so that you can do business with each other. And I think that's like the key ingredients to this. But I'm really seeing that, and that's helping me when wanting to promote this organization to others, as to how it's benefiting me to be able to say where I think this could be something beneficial to them. So I really appreciate it. And you guys.
Thank you. We're so happy you're here.
Thank you.
This was my secret squirrel tribute here.
I love it.
You can. That's very kind of you to say also, Emma. That really is the hope, as silly as that sounds. I mean, confidence and competence isn't a laugh tech thing. It's not a PNA thing. It's a thing. And you should be able to get that anywhere, and people don't. And that's, I'm very proud to hear that. I'm proud of you, as hokey as that sounds. We knew you when. It was beautiful.
You guys are great. Was there any more, or can I move on? I'm watching time. Okay, so this is a little bit under construction again. The speaker rotation. I might start calling it the presenter rotation. Down here in the red, I've added, and I wish Karen was here because she's our next presenter, but I'm going to start giving you guys the option to do a YouTube live. So whatever is done may be recorded and broadcast live. It's a whole different dynamic. It's a little bit more show, a little bit less meeting. And this is where that storyboarding comes in. This is where maybe we even plant a couple questions on the live version. You know, we might only go live for, say, 40 minutes of the 90-minute talk. We might do some stuff online. I haven't fleshed that out yet fully. But if you want to go live on YouTube, that will be an option this year. We've got the technology to do that now. I need to test it, but I've got it. And then also a panel presentation. And Mike, I'm looking at you, and anybody could benefit from doing a presentation where you bring on a colleague, a boss, your happiest client, and you let them sing your praises by the questions we ask them. And you could pick your host. You can be the host. You can ask them three, those three people. It could be a two-person interview that we get to enjoy and benefit from, that helps elevate your brand and your company and your community. So that's an option. And then of course you can always stick to a 20-minute presentation the way we've been doing it. But I want to give you and encourage you, at some point this year, I would love for 50% of our presentations to be live. And right now we're 3 in, and so we're 0 for 3. But wouldn't it be cool if you could say, hey guys, I'm presenting live with DigitalPNA. Come watch from PNAnw or wherever the heck you live. Like, now you've got something to go talk to your social media, your LinkedIn, your prospects who've been sitting on the fence for 2 years, whatever. You've got something to get them involved where you get to be the star. You get to coordinate and shine, essentially. So be thinking about that. Would you rather do YouTube Live, a panel presentation, or your typical presentation for your DigitalPNA this year? I haven't done it yet, but I am going to map out so we have basically the whole year planned out, so we can plan for these, because there's more marketing involved to make them more of a home run versus just a base hit. Today I would consider it a base hit. We got, some people here, but we're missing folks. When you got 10 people live on Instagram Live and there's comments coming in, and now instead of just having Brian be the timer, he's saying, oh, Josh Smith in California is asking, can you do digital auctions, Brian? Maybe that's a question that came in from a viewer on the internet. So again, we're going to get a little bit more dynamic here. And if that makes you a little bit queasy, it's okay. It makes me a little bit queasy too. But together, there's so much talent on this. Just out of the 5 of us, even, we can build from 5 to 10. I really think we're going to be able to move it across. And hey, if it sucks for some reason, we can hit the delete button on YouTube, right? We don't have to leave it out there if we flounder. Okay, so with that, Karen is up, and then Emma, you're up for March 5th. So Emma, do you want to do a presentation, a panel, or a YouTube Live?
Well, I did just create a sweet PowerPoint. So, I mean, and I made sure to make it long since Brian said mine was really short last time. So
excellent. Good. Well, we
Yeah.
look forward to that. I'll reach out to Karen and see, and I'll ask her to kind of watch some of this recording, or I'll run by some of this stuff with her to see if she might be willing to be our first YouTube Live, or even a panel. She could do a great panel presentation on her stuff. So we'll see. Moving on, we've got some events to talk about. Brian, do you want to cover these 3?
I'd love to. Yeah. If you're in the local-ish area or want to drive, that's cool too. The first one there, 4-Stitch, it's our new venue. We have 2 venues. Once again, I didn't realize how close this was actually to where, to our other location. It's like 10 minutes away, but it's in Woodinville, but it doesn't feel like Woodinville. Mike, if you're familiar with the area where like the Costco is in Woodinville, hit Highway 9, drive a mile up the road from that Costco, and you're right there at 4-Stitch. It's going to be a fun night. Really good panel of comedians to be on our stage. Our first time Don't have a lot of pre-solds yet, but that's okay. Any PNA member can get in at the door, $20 each versus 25, which is normally the on-site price. The other one is our local place. Mike, you've been there, for example. Rosie's been there. Just Emma, haven't been here because you're not in the state, Dad, burn it. That's our other fun show on the 21st. And then I don't know if Courtney works with nonprofits. Why did you just skip off the slide, young lady?
Sorry.
Happening. The NPO event, I'm really excited about as well. A banker from one of our physical PNA locations came to me last year and said, let's create an event for nonprofits free of charge with vendors on site, also free of charge to have a table. Nonprofits connect with each other as well as vendors, businesses that specialize in working with nonprofits. I co-ran it with her. I was the MC, co-MC with her. I also got hired for 2 auctions on the spot that night, which is crazy. I've never had a return of that nature. And this is going to be our second one. It's pretty much an annual thing because it does take a lot to put together, but just a quick 2 hours, connect people, resources, all NPOs, get 60 seconds on the mic to introduce themselves, have an ask. It was a surprisingly successful event last year. I'm proud to be part of it again this year. So if you want to come, you can. That's the link, and we'll get it all in the chat window, etc.
Excellent. Thanks, Brian. Michael, do you want to address this one or these?
Well, the Puget Sound Business Journal does a number of events each year. Most of them are in person. Some of them are not. They run a variety they run the gamut from educational to awards to something called Mentoring Monday. So look into that. That happens nationwide under the Business Journal's umbrella. So even if you're not in Seattle, it may be in your neck of the woods. It's a great opportunity to learn from other people in business. And a question, did I see on Facebook that one of the Laugh Tech comedy nights is sold out?
Yeah, actually, that is a special event we have in Sumner. 2 of my friends own that particular location. So they contacted us last year, had a fun event. It was a clean event though. And that community liked it. They turned out, they asked us back for this year and said, okay, enough of this clean crap. We hope to have a sellout. Let's get real comedians in, right? Well, this thing sold out, 65 seats. It's going to be a heck of a show. If anyone wants to go to Sumner, I can still get you in the door. Just don't tell anyone. But it's going to be an incredibly funny event. So yeah, congratulations. We go to locations that want to have a comedy show. Doesn't have to be a brewery. This one just happened to be one in Sumner, and my God, apparently the Sumner community wants to have some drinks and laugh their faces off. So
how could you combine a comedy show and an auction? I mean,
very easily.
You do that. You're fun and funny in your auctioneering and emceeing, but is it promoted, or is there a model out there for a comedy show auction or an auction comedy show?
So, Mike, I created that model when last year I helped raise however much money it was for Marcel's healing journey.
Right. Okay.
Put together 4 incredible comedians, including a stand-in MC, because the night before I was traveling back from Wenatchee, but I did still get there in time. But it was an incredible event, and when people are laughing, they might as well be crying, because there's an old adage that says, if they laugh or cry, they buy.
Yeah,
and they did. They loosened their purse strings. Donated a lot. All of the drinks were paid directly to Marcel's Venmo, including all the auction items were paid directly to her Venmo. All they had to do was write in donation, so it wasn't taxable. So she didn't get a sharp stick at the end. And it was a really successful event. So I will bring in talent, baby, if you find me a venue that wants to really shake it up.
A great model.
Yeah.
Well, and just having been the charity case in that thing, which I was humiliated about initially because my ego, and I wrote a book called Financial Joy, blah blah blah. But here's the thing: people rally behind people who are doing good work in the world, whether they're a businesswoman or whatever cause. But sometimes people have really hard times, and it's like, when I actually asked for help during a rant at a comedy night So there's not often a lot of places for people to say, hey, I'm sinking and I don't know what to do. I mean, I remember the surgeon had told me, like, you should get a will, like this could kill you. And I tanked emotionally, like, so hard. And then I found a different surgeon who was like, it's gonna be fine, so like not all experts are experts. Anyway, but yeah, if you hear of somebody important in your life that's having a really hard time, we would love to rally behind them and help them with whatever that might look like, because one, it's hard to ask for help, but people need to know that there's good people willing to help all the time,
Amen.
which is such an encouraging thing. I did share out in the chat there my November highlighting of Brian, which had some great photos if you want to reminisce over that story, because to me it was, it was like the best event of that year for me. Out of all the rough moments, that was such a highlight. And like, that's how businesses need to come together, Yeah, Brian got famous. I am actually looking for more people to feature in 2025. So if you have a polished headshot, I'm going to make that my new requirement, which is a super minimum thing, but it's important for magazine covers. But I'm looking to feature really great people that are willing and open and talk about marketing campaigns, data art, social media, overcoming fears of the video, whatever. So just putting that out there. Let me get back to wherever my slide deck is, because now I'm rambling. Hashtag human. Okay, so I swapped these slides around a little bit just because I wanted to make sure we got everything here, but we need to grow this group, guys. This could easily be a powerhouse of 20 people. Your referrals will increase drastically when there's more than 5 of us here. I think Rosie was the only one that got closed business, which because of that reel, I would consider that not necessarily a PNA referral, but it's a referral from video that happened in a PNA or a Dreamosity event. To me, that should be closed business. But I want us to increase the closed business, and these are the type of people that we're looking for to help us do that. So if you know a productivity coach, a virtual assistant, a web developer, a copy editor, different than a copywriter, a virtual CFO would be fantastic. A trademark attorney, a podcast producer, a photographer, a grant writer. You guys can read, but these are a few of the people we're looking for. So again, as you're out networking, keep that in mind. And then just a reminder, we still do have a $100 referral bonus. Brian, did you want to address this slide?
I'll address that slide, but this sounds really silly. Folks, I want a custom gift maker.
Oh,
I want a freaking basket weaver person. I don't care what they do, where they are located, but if they make stuff, or like we did have one in a previous chapter, she only worked with local Pacific Northwest businesses. So she was supporting local businesses and had great prices for custom baskets. I want someone like that in our network, because they'll ship anywhere, right? So they can live in Emma's backyard somewhere in that local business neighborhood. Get them the DigitalPNA. If they'll ship anywhere in the US, I have 13 real estate agents, 13 mortgage advisors, all these types of businesses that often gift their customers, even general contractors. Thanks for the kitchen remodel opportunity. Here's a gift basket. I mean, that's a perfect example of someone who's great for DigitalPNA. They don't need to be tied to a zip code, and they might really have a huge return and benefit all of us.
yeah.
Oh, and by the way, I'll pay $100 if you refer someone in here. Come on.
Yeah.
Make that happen. All they gotta do is list you as a sponsor. Bring them to DigitalPNA. If they join, if they're vetted and they join and you're listed as a sponsor, I give you money. I like doing that.
Yeah. So I encourage each of you to call 10 people before our next meeting and say, hey gals, Brian and Marcel are doing something different this year at DigitalPNA. I mean, you guys, I'm going to raise my prices from 75 to 250 because doing one-to-one work, it's not my ideal thing, right? I want to do groups. I want to do my revenue ringlet, this, and our Laugh Tech corporate trainings. That's what I want to be focused on this year. But when you're here in this group, you're getting massive consulting, encouragement. You're getting value for being here from the digital strategy and support, which for $600 for the year is fantastic, right? So this paired with other masterminds or other strategy things are great, but we're doing something really cool. And if you guys aren't talking about it yet, or you're still like, I don't know, Marcel, I still haven't done a video, or whatever your fear is, if we can make it better for you so you are talking about it, please let us know. Because if it's not cool enough to go home, talk to your spouse, talk to your neighbor, talk to a client, I'm missing the mark in the vision of this because I want you to be like, this is so cool. And it's also terrifying, but I'm here and I'm getting better because of it. So that's our challenge for you. Talk to 10 people. And honestly, I'd love to know if they roll their eyes and are like, that sounds dumb, or if they're like, that's freaking amazing. I would love that feedback because as an innovator or a creative person, I don't know, maybe there is something better out there that we can model, but I think we're doing some really cool stuff here.
Yeah.
So with that, it's 1:30. Thank you for your time. Feel free to stay on if you want to chat and network and schedule one-to-one with me to go live or bail out to another meeting. But we appreciate you so much. Great job today, Brian.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
we'll
all
see
for your
soon.
feedback too. I greatly appreciate it. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Are you lingering? You're on mute, Rosie.
No, I was just gonna, I can message Marcel. I was gonna see if schedule a time for me to come up north and maybe do that thing with her.
Oh, okay. Well, give her a shout. She responds to phones and texts.
Yes, she does. Maybe not emails as much, but yeah,
Not
phones and
email.
texts, yes.
Do not recommend email. All right. And you and I need to have another one of these at some point. I need to go pick up my kids now, but
Okay.
I need to know what else you need to make sure that I'm kept on track monthly. Okay. And I still need to, I don't know why People's Bank hasn't got me that document yet to sign so you can be into that and all that stuff. Okay. But we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Okay. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.